So Tesla and Blockstream are now teaming up for Bitcoin mining. So last year in Bitcoin Miami 2021, Block and Blockstream, then Square, that was before Jack Dorsey left Twitter, announced that they were going to team up and create a sustainable Bitcoin miner. And then this year they announced that Blockstream and Block will be using the Tesla solar powered battery in order to power the Bitcoin miner. So now Block is teaming up with Blockstream, using Intel's ASIC mining chip and Tesla's solar powered battery to create a Bitcoin miner. So what do you think about all these? I guess it seems like a lot of these big companies, maybe not necessarily that have been into Bitcoin mining previously, all kind of teaming up and joining forces to get into Bitcoin mining.
So I think it's really good. I think it shows that some of the large players are interested in getting into this, and it helps bring it further into the mainstream. And their solution is really interesting. I don't think you mentioned the whole ESG narrative, and I think this gives a good counterpoint to the people who do buy into that and think, okay, everything must be 100% renewable. I'm not sure if solar power with battery backup is the best energy solution. I'm not an energy expert, but I do think it gives a really good counterpoint to the people who do buy into that. I think hydroelectric power would be very good as well. I think I read somewhere that there's some hydroelectric locations up in Canada that could basically power the entire Bitcoin network. So I think there are solutions out there that would give us a whole lot more power. And I don't like the whole narrative that you must use less power. I think that's sort of seeing it from an incorrect or a backwards perspective. I think power use should be encouraged, so that way we can find ways to just generate more power. And the only way humanity is going to continue increasing and building things is by using power that's available. And the sort of the non-renewable energy sources, there's a finite amount of them. We're going to have to come up with other solutions anyway. So using things like nuclear power and solar power and hydroelectric power, we're going to have to use them. And so I think it's really interesting that people are starting to look into that. And it gives a good, like I said, it gives a good counterexample to the people who say, oh, proof of work is terrible because it uses power. I don't think it's bad to use power, especially if it's going to protect the, ideally, hopefully one day, one of the largest monetary systems in the world. And when people go do all the math and divide out, oh, Bitcoin uses this much power, one transaction costs $2,000 or whatever ridiculous number they come up with. It's a false narrative, and they're just trying to generate sort of bad publicity for Bitcoin. No one would ever do the same thing for oh, you could divide the average gas for a road and say we shouldn't build roads anymore because people drive cars on them, and that's a terrible thing. So nobody would ever do something like that, because everyone just accepts you have to drive a car to go places. I think eventually you'd kind of see Bitcoin the same way. The security of the network is important, and that just has a cost associated with it. So let's find the most efficient way to generate power, whether it is hydroelectric or solar or nuclear or whatever else we can come up with. I think 100 years from now, I doubt this is even going to be a concern, because there's probably going to be such amazing technological advances in power generation that stressing about it now and trying to put regulations on companies and pushing this whole ESG narrative is just not. It's a way to punish companies that they don't like. I don't think it has anything to do with actually benefiting anyone. It's just it provides a narrative for them to go try and attack companies and things like Bitcoin that they're not a fan of.